What up, everybody? It's your boy Evan Romo, one half of MF Pearl. We got the other half of MF behind the cameras, making sure that we rolling. We got David Vasquez behind there.
Hey everyone.
And you know what it is, man. We out here at the stew, getting more episodes in. So we here live at MFHQ.
Brought to you by the makers of Midnight Sessions. Live at MFHQ is in fact not recorded live, but is in fact recorded inside of the MF headquarters. This episode contains tastefully explicit content, so feel free to do what you like with that information. Now back to the show.
Today we got a local legend. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. You haven't been prepared for this at all, so if I gas you up and you think it's bullshit, then whatever. But we got a local legend. You've seen her work all around the city, especially if you've taken a stroll downtown, if you've gone down Texas Avenue, Montana,
I-10.
I-10, everywhere, man. Muralist, illustrator, painter. She's got merch of all sorts, so you see her work across all different mediums. Like I said, man, local legend. We got Christin Apodaca at the. Oh my God, I just fucked it all up at the end, dude.
So close.
No. Like I said, we got a local legend. We got Christin Apodaca in the building. Let's make some noise. That's gonna be in post production though.
Woo.
Christin, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. That was great. You nailed it.
It only took 2 tries, but they're only gonna see one.
Thank you for not saying my name wrong.
No, of course not. I've seen a couple of times where you've complained about it, so I just made sure I had to get it right.
That's a bummer.
I wanted to go ahead and start it off though with, I know that right now when you walked in, you had asked David if he had been here before, or if you had met him before. Obviously, I've been here before.
Been here before?
And I wanted to see if you have good memory, because the first time that you and I met was actually like super awkward, because I met you at a Tin Man. You were with Gabe from Dead Beach. And well, I was like saying what's up to them, but then like I kind of had an intention. I needed to say something to him really quick, and you're kind of just there, like just chilling. And you stuck your hand out and introduced yourself to me. And I was like, oh shit, my bad. Like I know exactly who you are. You don't gotta even introduce yourself.
Rude.
But I don't know if you remember that. It was like super long time ago, before 2018.
If beer was involved, probably not. Unfortunately, it happens.
That's all right. But that was the first time I met you.
I thought you were gonna ask me like, so when did you meet David? And I was like, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah. Well, hold on. I want to
And
know.
I was like, I just feel like I remember his face, but I can't place it. I can't put the background. I just have the face.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was the first
That's
time.
okay.
And then that's like a recurring theme with everyone that I meet, where I'm not in their work. I always have like the most awkward first time meeting them. And then when I met with you at Old Sheepdog at Gallery Lincoln, that was also like not any less awkward. It was just, I'm a nervous dude.
You just have to like go with it now, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
You'd be like, yeah, you're gonna remember.
Man.
Maybe.
So we're filming this right now, but this is gonna be coming out a little bit after New Year's.
Cool.
I wanted to check to see where you stand with resolutions. What do you think about those?
Oh, I don't think about them.
Not at all.
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I guess a lot of times I don't see it as like this new time and new me, because it's like, okay, well, I'm just kind of continuing on this path that I was building, last month or the year before. So I'm going through puberty, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it as being like, okay, now it's time to start fresh. It's like, no, you should have already been trying to start fresh, or yeah, I don't know. I don't really see the New Year's like that.
So you don't let the calendar dictate, I guess, when you're gonna enter a new chapter.
No.
Do you still look at life in like chapters in a way, like especially with like your art career? Have you looked at it in like seasons?
No, I just I probably should, right? I mean, like, I definitely follow like my own evolution of like what I'm incorporating and what I'm leaving behind, and how I'm kind of changing things up. But I don't know. I'm always doing so much. I keep looking forward. It's hard to look back.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm gonna make you look back though. What is the timeline of like your career look like? I'm not obviously like step by step, but more so like like big large chunks of it. Like how long, if not from the start, how long did it take for you to become a full-time artist?
I don't remember what year it was. Maybe it was 2014, 15, 16. I don't know which one of those it is. But I got fired from a job that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably the coolest day ever. Because I was like, me and my bosses didn't really get along. We didn't see a lot of eye to eye, and just the way that some decisions they made, like I was not going to get behind, and it was a kind of job where you had to say yes to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end, I was just like, I'm not going to say yes to a lot of things. So I got fired, and I was like, all right, it's time.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm making artwork on their schedule, I can do it completely on mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say, like, I've been doing art full time for the last 8-9 years, whatever. If the math is right on that, if it's not, like, you know what I mean? Plug it in where it fits.
Was that a hard? I mean, you said it was the best day, but was there like a lot of uncertainty in a way, or did you kind of already have like some momentum built up doing it as a side thing?
No, I mean, it was just kind of figure it the fuck out. And it was scary because I was like, okay, well, then I didn't really have a goal of painting murals. You know, I just had a goal of like, well, I make art and I want to make it, but I didn't know exactly what. Like, did I want to be more fine art the way I was trained in school? Or, you know, do I want to do commissions and just do illustrations and try and like get jobs like that? So it was hard to figure out what I really wanted to put my time into.
Mm-hmm. How do you describe your art now? I mean, am I wrong to call it a like crosshatch? Like, what's the shading? The
No, it's a crosshatch. I mean, honestly, I always consider a lot of my paintings to be just big illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't use a marker, you know, I have to use paint to kind of describe all of those lines.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong in any, call it whatever you want, you're not wrong.
Okay. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna think of something that doesn't make sense just
Okay.
to test
And
you.
I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, exactly.
Call it whatever you want. I told
Called
you.
it. You're allowed.
What do you, so when you start off in 2014-ish, because I want to say I probably discovered your artwork around that 2018 time. Like when I first had that interaction, I had already known of your work.
Oh,
It's just I wouldn't say it dates back to 2014, like my
true.
knowledge of
True.
it. So, um, 2014, would you say you had nailed? Because that's would you? It's safe to say that that's the style that you're, almost known for. When you see a big illustration like that with big, chunky, bold outlines and
Yeah.
nice crosshatch shading, um, it's a Cristin piece. Was that? How long did it take you to evolve into that style? Like when you started in 2014, was it? I know that you juggled a little bit
Yeah.
between what you wanted.
Yeah.
What time is it? Where
So,
you,
well, now that you're saying all these timelines out loud, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm trying to build it in my head because I don't remember the times of anything. So I graduated college in 2014.
Mhm.
Pretty sure. Google it. It'll come up somewhere.
Yeah, you could Google you.
I
Sheesh.
don't know. I've done a handful of interviews. One should be online somewhere.
Yeah.
No, so when I graduated, I studied oil painting. So oil painting is a whole other monster other than sitting down with, one Sharpie, one marker, one color.
Mhm.
But when I moved back, I was like, I can't have the same practice because I moved back in with my grandparents. They're who raised me, so I moved back into the house that I grew up in. But I didn't have the same space. I didn't have the same studio. So I had to figure out a lot of ways to still create things that I liked
Mhm.
without having paint everywhere in a studio and, the school space that they provide. So that's when it started brewing really after college because I just had to figure something out
Mhm.
to still make drawings that I liked.
Um, I know that when you did your collaboration with Siete, you, I guess you celebrated your grandparents
Yeah.
primarily through the project.
Yeah.
What would you say? How was it like growing up with your grandparents? Because I had to go with my grandma a lot because my parents worked a little late after school. So it was like after school, she was kind of the one who raised me, which is a lot of the like raising time. Because otherwise,
Sure.
I'm in school with my friends and stuff.
Right.
What was your experience like growing up with just in like I'm assuming it was like very traditional Mexican household at that point because they're from a couple generations back.
You know what? No, not really. So I was raised by my grandparents ever since I was 2.
Okay.
Um, but my grandparents are from Colorado and New Mexico.
Mm.
So, they didn't grow up with the same kind of foods, you know what I mean? Like, were there tortillas? Yes. But it was a lot of beans, a lot of potatoes, not a lot of meat,
Mhm.
definitely no vegetables. So the eating part was different.
Mhm.
right? So when I would go over to like my friends' houses and their moms were traditional like Mexican women, I'd be like, "Ooh, what's this? What's this?"
Mole.
Yeah, yes. So I think I'm living like my senora lifestyle now, learning how to make all these things
Mhm.
from all these people that I really enjoy. Um, like I'll make my grandma albondigas and I'll take it over. She'll be like, "What is this?" And I'll be like,
Really?
"Let me tell you." Yeah,
Man.
yeah. So it's fun to be the person to share that with her.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. My grandpa is, ex-Marines, ex-military, so he was like a bit of a hard ass sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I'm my grandma's favorite, so
You should add Doña in front of your name.
I should. I just start call. Yeah, I should. I'm gonna start signing it like that.
Oh, okay. That's
Call.
like Don, huh? That's the same.
Good call.
Um,
Good call.
what do you call? So then, I know that you had also shined light on the Latina community through that collaboration.
Yeah.
And would you say that you also, just real quick, like, would you say that you also try to use your career as a, I guess, a spotlight for that in general, not just with a collaboration with them?
I do, but I think it's because I grew up in a space where, I didn't kind of know where I fit in. Like,
Mhm.
would we go over to Juarez? Yes. Would we be eating not the same foods? Yes. Did my grandparents speak Spanish to each other when they wanted to talk about us? Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I had all these little bits, and it's just like I think it's just me trying to figure out where I fit in this space and trying to embrace the parts that I know and the parts that I'm learning.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that's where I'm trying to spotlight it. But then even just being a female doing what I'm doing, I try to really shine light on also.
Has it been tough being a female within this, not just within the art space as a whole, but specifically within El Paso? I feel like there's a lot of people that I speak to. They've been in the, I guess I hate to use the word because it's so dirty, but the art scene. Um, a lot of people that I speak to have been in it longer, and they tell me their experiences, and a lot of them, like during that, mid 2010s and stuff. It's a lot of like toxicity and everything like that.
Sure.
So, do you feel as if you've had your fair share of like struggles growing up? I'm not say growing up, but like developing as a female artist within this city.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it the other day. I was like, well, a lot of the work that I learned about and looked at and all of those things, it's just primarily men artists. In college and high school, you're not shown a lot of female work. So you're already pushing yourself into a space where there's not a lot of females being talked about. And I think just thinking about the community that surrounds, the arts, there's still not a lot of ladies also. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's hard to find a muralist. I can name maybe you, Laura.
Voodoo?
There you go, Voodoo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that just goes to show like it's kind of a struggle to like name the artists that are like making waves. But
Yeah.
it's also not just it's not just on them. It's also on the community as well.
100%.
Um, when you're in college, what's the official name of your studies? Is it just fine art,
Um,
was it specifically oil painting?
no, so I got my bachelor's in studio art with a concentration in painting and drawing.
Going through your studies, did it also the whole idea that there's a lack of female representation where most of your professors like men as well, or like what city, because you said you came back to
Yeah, so I went to UTEP for like a year or two, and I had two female professors. And it's funny because those are the only two that I remember,
yeah.
right? And then I went to Albuquerque, and then I had one female professor and like five male professors.
On your road through your collegiate experience, did you ever have any assignments, like anything that you turned in that you got a grade that you're like, what, are you kidding me, bro? Like, I went dummy on that and you gave that a C?
No, because honestly, I didn't take school, like studio or critique or any of that, like really serious.
Mm-hmm.
There was one year where I just really wasn't into the people instructing And just like I wasn't into like making art at that time, and I was just like, I don't want to do this. So I just was like, I'm gonna be really ridiculous and see what I can get away with because it's art. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
man.
there were a lot of times where I was just like, let me ask questions where I want to know more about. But if you're asking me to do something that I just feel is silly, like okay, I can get silly.
Yeah, that's got to be a challenge. I took a creative writing class my senior year, and it was a song. We were just turning in poetry. Like that was the theme for like the first part of the class, and I got a C on it. And I had worked on that song for like years. It was like
So
a
sad.
yeah, and then I turned in something overnight that I'd done like just to get it done, and I got like an A plus. And I'm just like, man, what is this subjective stuff like?
But that's how it always is, right?
Yeah, I feel you.
I have pieces that I fucking love, and people are like, cool.
Well, at least it's not up for like a grade though. You know, if they don't, I mean,
Sure.
if the public doesn't really like it. Um, I wanted to ask about how you go about. I know it's a little bit of a left turn, but I wanted to go about. Uh, are you okay? Royal jelly, and then proving the hypothesis of celestial flirtation.
Yeah.
I know those three.
Yeah.
With since Are You Okay? I'm not too sure if I'm missing any solo exhibitions.
That was it. Yeah.
Um, I want to get into something in a little bit, but I wanted to ask, what would be?
Oh wait, did you say Wish You Weren't Here? That was my first one ever.
Oh, okay, there you go. And I
Yeah,
even told
yeah.
you about that one. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, yo, I don't want to sound like a biter, but I have this
And I was like,
project.
yeah, you are.
Wish You Weren't Here, right?
Wish You Weren't Here.
Yeah, there you go. See, mine was Wish You Were Here.
Yeah, mine was Wish You Weren't Here.
See, the thing is, that never even came to fruition yet. It's still an idea, but we'll bring it back. And then that way, your project would have had its lifespan, and
I'm gonna bring it back. I'll be like, people don't forget.
part 2.
Yeah.
Um,
Still wish you weren't here.
Man, I wanted to say like thank you for reminding me about that one because that even adds to the pool. I love the way you go about titling your exhibitions. Um, I wanted to ask a two-part question. The first part we can sit on it for a little bit, but is there anything coming up? Is there any new exhibitions of just yours coming up with your own special presentation and everything like that?
So I have a project that I've been working on. I applied to MCAD, so they fund, projects around the community. And it's called Love Letters.
Mm.
So for me, I've been thinking about collaboration, and it's just, I don't know. When you think about a collaboration in painting or drawing, I feel like it's kind of difficult, or at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I find it really hard, right? When I'm making work, it's just me. So to throw another person in the mix, I think it's hard for me to figure out a way for it to feel collaborative, for it to feel like everyone has an equal part, for it to feel like both parties can be 100% happy. So I wanted to push myself to create a project that did that. So what I'm doing is I wrote a letter, and it's a letter to all the female creatives in El Paso. So it's not just people who paint or draw.
Mm-hmm.
I want to throw it out to people who make music, people who write, people who make movies, like everything in between that's, creative. And I want to invite them to write their own kind of love letter or create their own kind of love letter. So I'm working on a website so that I can have stuff published on there. But my main goal is to pick one of these as the first piece and turn it into a mural. And so the mural will be collaborative in that sense. And it'll have, signage of where you can see their piece, give them credit on the wall, have a website to show that, have a social media to show that, but really give a space where people might feel like they don't have one.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, and it's only for ladies. Did I say that? Ladies only.
A little bit, yeah. You hinted at it.
Yeah.
How are you gonna kind of unveil that? Is it gonna be a 1-day thing, or is it gonna be an ongoing?
So my goal with the project is to have it ongoing for, as long as I can get funding to, I eventually want to be able to figure out ways to pay people for their work, you know what I mean? But for the first part, I'm starting the Instagram and I'm starting a website. So I'm going to be sharing my letter. That's to everybody. And it's going to be kind of like an open call.
Yeah.
So, what is it that you make, and, what is your idea of a love letter? Is it to yourself? Is it to your mom? Is it to your past self? Is it to your future self? Is it to your city? Is it to your dog? like, what does a love letter really mean to you, and how do you express that in your own medium?
Yeah. Dang. You've done a collaboration that I know about with Maui P.
I'm Maui.
Yeah. How with what you've said about collaborations, how does something like that go? Because you two have a little bit of a similar style. You guys get down with some black and white.
Yeah.
Was that more of a? It was easier because we're already friends. We've already have like this chemistry built up.
Maybe, I mean, the way me and Maui did that one is he literally started a piece of a drawing and then would just email it over and then I'd work on another piece
Dang,
and
like
he'd
that?
kind of just, yeah. Yeah. And I think that one worked out because we made 3 and those ones just came out, like, they just flowed really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's just because, like, I love Maui as a human, so I just knew we were going to
Yeah.
make some cool shit,
I
but,
feel you.
yeah.
So this is more of a challenge though, because you might be working with an entire stranger in this sense,
Yes.
and you're working based. So, somebody writes a letter, and you're gonna essentially build a mural based on the content of the letter.
So let's say, the way that it came about is I've been doing some work with La Semilla. So
Mhm.
they invite me to some of their events and I will illustrate whatever presentations are happening.
Mhm.
And I found that I get really fun compositions from just listening to people share their own projects and share their own stories.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what if, I invited a bunch of people who write short stories or poems or songs to submit a love letter, and I'm reading it and creating the way that I feel from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a fun way to really build a composition. So I was like, fuck it, let's open it up.
Do you have any ideas of when you want for like the first installment to be completed by?
Technically on paper, in January is when I'll be presenting the project
Yeah.
to the world. Like,
Mhm.
hey, this is my love letter. I'll have all of my sites up and running.
Mhm.
I mean, I hope I can get people to want to contribute
Mhm.
and have it be like an ongoing thing and not just be El Paso. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What would you say is like their? With that being said, what would you say is like your outreach? Aside, because Maui's from here, but like, have you had any opportunities to work with artists that aren't even near El Paso at all?
No,
Not at all.
no.
Is there anybody that you'd want to work with? Like, is there any collabs that you'd chase rather than kind of just building a concept and seeing who comes along?
You know what would be fun? Do you follow Squid Liquor on Instagram?
Nah.
She makes really badass murals, super crazy colors. She has all these fun characters. It's like super based on like her culture, her lifestyle, her everything. And she just gets really funky, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask how you feel about social media on your end. Do you like it? Do you feel like you gotta take it easy on stuff because you could easily start doom scrolling?
Oh, I love a good doom scroll. I think
Yeah.
I think I plan a little bit of my day to doom scroll. I'm like, dude, you know you're gonna do it, so you might as well just. This part of my day is doom
It's
scrolling.
like your workout.
Yeah, for my finger. No, I don't. I can see how it could be a monster. But honestly, I've been so lucky to get a lot of really rad jobs from just being current on social media. So I see it as such a great tool
Yeah.
and a great space to doom scroll. But yeah.
Because with Love Letters having a new IG and a website, this would be, if I'm counting right, this would be your 4th IG handle that you got to manage now, right? Because you have
Like,
a
you know, all
couple
my
others.
fake ones.
I don't know your fences, but I know your other art ones.
Honestly, it's hard. Like, keeping one alive is hard, right?
Yeah.
But the other ones are fun. What? Who else do I
Because
got?
the other ones are more of like hobbies, right? Because you have a steak cake with collage art,
Right,
and then you have kissing cactuses
right.
with
With my pottery and my cactuses.
Yeah, how did you find time? Was like, is it just sort of whatever free time you have, or because from what I mean, from what I'm sure anybody could see, it almost seems as if you're always busy, like you're always working
I'm
on
not even
something.
here right now.
No, it's just this is a what is it, a
This
projection?
isn't even me. This isn't even what Cristin really looks like.
Just a
It's
stunt
the
double?
person that I hired. I don't know. I feel like it's comfortable for me to not work or not make. You know what I mean? I do make it a point to do ceramics once a week.
So that's like you got to do at least once a
Right.
week. Okay.
So it's every Thursday I go and I do ceramics.
Mhm.
I love it because that's probably the one place where I don't plan what I'm making.
Mhm.
You know, with murals and drawings, I'm always like, okay, well, it's this measurement and I got to do this. So for ceramics, I'm just like, let's get on the wheel and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
My collage stuff is kind of, that was birthed out of me maybe being stuck in compositions. I always feel like when you get writer's block or stuck, like you can't stop and let the ideas come to you because they won't. That's not how things happen. So I feel like you just have to work through not having ideas, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So the collages are great because all the bits of the composition are already there. Like, oh, I need a background. Pick one. Oh, I need a subject matter. Cool. Just fucking pick one. So I just thought it was a fun game to kind of just piece together all of these compositions and just slap them together.
Do you agree with the idea that ceramics and the collage work is in a way you allowing yourself to be a beginner at something again?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, clay will make you cry.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what it all is. You're just working with clay the whole time. I'm
Yeah.
not too sure. I'm not too fluent with ceramic. I don't know
Yeah.
if you have different materials or.
I mean, there's different types of clay.
Mhm.
So it's like you could do like a terracotta red clay as opposed to a white clay, and
Yeah.
they feel different and they act different on the wheel and they act different when you hand build. You could use a porcelain. I don't know. I just kind of pick whatever at the time.
Yeah.
Like that one.
And then with I wanted to ask, like, how do you incorporate certain things into your art? Like, it's very easy to see how you incorporate nature into
Yeah.
your art. A lot of the time that you'll have it be infused with a subject, either their head
Sure.
split up or something like that. But now ceramics can even be in a way for you to put plants into your ceramics. So I wanted to
Right.
ask a different medium, just because we are a music platform. I wanted to ask how you incorporate music into your art. Like, do you have a certain music you like to listen to, a certain genre you like to? Do you have it? Because I see when you put on reels, you'll put on a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, like, when you're playing it, do you have like a certain thing you go to?
You know what's funny? A lot of things, when I'm making a lot of things, I'm not listening to music most of the time.
Mhm.
I'm listening to podcasts and recently like books.
Mhm.
So, for me, the music is an afterthought. So I try and figure out like, well, how does it look now when I'm seeing it later?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to be all over the place.
Okay. I know you've done a couple of collabs with artists. I don't want to say a couple because I do know that you've worked with A Billy Free.
Oh yeah, she's
Um,
great.
are there other artists that you've done like cover arts for or anything like that?
God, if I miss one, I'm gonna hear about it.
That just shows how many gigs that you've had. Honestly, like there's a lot of commissions that have come your way.
Yeah, there has. I want to say not that I can think of right now. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say no, but not that I can think of right
We
now.
can put it in post.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's it like when you do get asked to do a cover art for some? Like when you did work with Billy, did you get the music beforehand? Like has creating art and getting some commissions allowed you to get an inside look at certain things before they're ready?
Sometimes did she? I want to say maybe that she did, but then I think of that mostly like when I've had book cover art. They'll send me a lot of pieces and little bits of the books that
Yeah, that's
like,
cool. Book cover art's cool because you know it's gonna get printed into a physical thing.
right.
You know.
It was weird seeing it like at Barnes. Like I was like,
How do you feel seeing your art in Target?
oh, that was weird too.
'Cause those are two huge, just like
Yeah.
chains. You
Yeah. I mean, so in the beginning of the project, they couldn't tell me who, like, where it was going. They're just like, oh, a big retailer is going to carry it. But I had to sign, like, a non disclosure to obviously not disclose it. So yeah, when they finally tell me, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you thinking like Sprouts or something?
No, I mean, I've seen their stuff. Like, the first time I saw their stuff was at Whole Foods. So in my head, I was thinking Whole Foods.
I love Siete chips.
Yeah.
You like them?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have.
I love those jam-
It's the non-disclosure. It's part of the
Yes.
non-disclosure. You have to say yeah.
No, I love those damn cookies more, honestly.
I haven't even had those cookies yet. I've only had some of their
You're
chips.
gonna finish all the like. You just sit there and you
Just eat
in
them
a
all.
bag. Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's how I am with the chips. I usually get salt and vinegar or like their fuego ones, not the tortilla ones though. It's got to be the potato chips.
No comments.
Hey, it's just.
Oh, you know what? I brought you a bag in my car.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna open it. I'm just gonna keep the art there.
Just like cut it on the bottom in the back,
Okay.
and then take out the chips.
I feel you. Heck yeah, thank
But
you.
they're the chili lemons.
Ooh, yes.
Do you like those
I'm gonna
chips?
put the applause on.
I haven't had them.
Do you like chips?
I do like chips. Yes.
Great.
You're gonna like those.
I'll give you a bag too, because you could have been like, nah, I don't like chips.
Oh no, yeah, chips are great. I actually prefer salts than sweets.
Okay, great. You're gonna love them.
Okay, cool.
You're gonna love them.
What do you prefer, salts or sweets?
Both, all of it, all the time.
Across all foods? I
Um,
don't really like sweet foods on all fronts.
no, I don't know. I like a good balance of both. I'm like those memes where it's like once you have something salty, it's like, oh, I need a little something sweet right now. But I can't eat a lot of sweet foods because I get really bad headaches from the sugar.
Oh. Do you get really bad hangovers if you drink something like sweet
Yeah.
with alcohol?
Yeah.
Same.
Nightmare.
Because of that, do you try to stay away from sweet beers? What type of beers do you like? Or drinks? Are you like a craft beer person?
Whoa, whoa,
Sorry.
whoa, whoa.
Oh, my bad. We got,
whoa, whoa,
we got time. We got time.
No, I enjoy good beer. I'm not the biggest fan of dark beers right now. I went back to my roots. A lot of Modelo's.
Okay. Okay, for sure.
No, I love a good cold beer.
Yeah. It's 'cause some people might want like a glass of wine. Some people might want like a cocktail or something like that.
Yeah. I also love a good cocktail. So.
As far as the your exhibitions go, because this is the one thing I really wanted to talk about, because I already had said that I love the way you title your work.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a process for all of them that kind of goes about the same when you're thinking of the, I don't want to just call it the title, but the entire branding of it?
Like my theme.
Yeah, like, and then you go ahead and build everything around that. Is it almost a similar process every time, or has it been a different experience with each one of your exhibitions?
Like my first one, Wish You Weren't Here. I thought of all the fun illustrations first, and then I looked at them as a whole collection, and I was like, duh, it's gonna be called this. For Are You Okay, I felt like that one made sense just with the times because it was COVID times.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like that one made sense in every angle that you thought about that sentence and that question. And I loved that question because it could be to yourself or to someone else. And then the one after that was Royal Jelly. So I learned what Royal Jelly was.
Yeah, I remember you explaining it. I'll let you explain it again, but it has to
I
do
was
with
like,
bees.
nah, you do it. Tell me what you remember, and I'll fill in the other bits.
Just that it was like, it has to do with the honey that's collected by how would you call them? A family of bees, a hive of bees.
That was cute. Yes.
I
Yes.
just don't have to do with bees.
It does have to do with bees, but it's like this secretion that bees feed to all the like bees. No, it's the secretion that the bees feed to like the queen bee, and it's called royal jelly.
Yeah.
So it's like I think that's just gross, like the secretion that like only the queen bees get. You know.
Have you heard of Mad Jelly? No, it's called Mad Honey.
Oh, it's like. Is
Mad secretion.
this a gross joke that I'm not gonna get?
No. So apparently, if some bees pollinate specific plants that have psychedelic properties,
Okay.
and then like bears will eat the hive and they'll just be tripping.
It's like fucking cocaine bear.
Yeah.
But by
Mad
accident.
honey.
No, I haven't heard about that. But yeah, royal jelly. I learned what that was. Like I just thought I don't know why I learned what it was.
Kind of gross, but cool.
Right. But I thought it was a fun way to feel like, okay, well, all of these queen bees, right? Because all of these bees are just like for that queen. It's like, and do whatever you want, whatever you need. Like it's for you, right? So I thought of the name first, and then I built the show around that one. And I had a blast because I just went all crazy colors.
That one's so sick.
That one was super fun to make and install and everything.
And I was gonna throw down. I was gonna throw down for this one bee piece, but somebody had already gotten. There's like a dot right next to it. I was like, damn, that was quick, man. Like I was like one of the first ones there at the show.
You
And
snoozed.
I guess somebody probably got an early look. There's no way I was there fast. Now I was able to get one of the numbered.
Yeah, those are rad.
Yeah, I made sure to get
Those are
47.
fun.
I had to
Hell
get
yeah.
47.
I always get 3.
3?
Yeah.
That's cool that you have a of your own. Like you keep the third one.
No, well, I mean, of any. Yes, I
anything?
keep the third one, but like if I can get a 3 print from someone, I
Yeah.
like to get that one.
47. And then what about Celestial Flirtation? How did that one come about?
So that's actually like part of a line from the new Wes Anderson movie.
Asteroid City.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like Tilda Swinton's character like just casually says it.
Uh-huh.
And I got on my phone and I was like, that's going to be the title of my show. Yeah,
We went to go see that one. I think the weekend it came out.
same.
You liked it?
I did.
Do you like the movie, or do you not just the movie, but do you also like all of like Wes Anderson's work?
Well, when I was a lot younger, I had a partner that like hated Wes Anderson, so we could never watch Wes Anderson films in his presence. So the minute we broke up, I went to the art library and I like checked out all the ones that they had, and I was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna watch all of them."
Yeah.
But I love that he has such a consistent style,
Uh-huh.
and the stories are really fun. So,
True.
I mean, I stole my title for my show there. So it's great.
You did rejection letters in that
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
and then you blurred out the vital stuff. I mean,
Well,
for me,
that
I would have
wasn't.
gone all the way, you know. Just
I
like,
did. That wasn't
oh,
me.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. It was
they were-
post. It was after. Okay.
That wasn't me. They were like, let's be a little. Let's give people a little bit of anonymity here. I was like,
Okay,
whatever.
okay. What was the concept behind that though? So how does that tie into the title of the event?
So I felt that all of these things that I'm doing, all of these parts of me come together to just create all the work that I'm creating. Like all of them feed into each other. All of them talk to each other, and all of them are friends. And I can't have one without the process of this one.
Mhm.
And I can't have a rejection letter without, completing this project over here. So I felt like it just made sense, right? The celestial flirtation. I'm just like this. We're all these star beings, like working on these things that we love and trying to make it work. And
Mhm.
yeah, it just sounded like a fun way to show my process and show all the things that I do and how I don't stop ever.
The Rubin Center's at UTEP, right?
Yeah.
What was it like to work with? Were you working with one person, or are you kind of working with the university at that point?
No, I was working with one person, so I was working with the curator of the museum.
Yeah.
She's great. I
So
love
you
her.
didn't really have to deal with like UTEP things all too much. She was able to handle that for you.
Right. I mean, are they a UTEP entity? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So you have to fill out paperwork and all of that. But she was great because she didn't really tell me no on anything. I
Yeah.
was like, and then I want this and this and this. And she's like, yeah, 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 yeah. Let's do it. All of it.
Do you feel like you've come into any sort of points in your career where you get like maybe a commission or something, and you have to maybe like, I don't know, put a mask on your brand a little bit?
Oh, all the time.
You really do think so? It feels like you've almost had like a great opportunity to be able to just completely be yourself through all your work. Well, I mean, I'm sure you are to an extent, but I'll let you.
Yeah, no, I think I've been able to squeeze a lot of it in there, but I've had a lot of commissions where people are just telling me what to do, like really heavy.
Yeah.
And I've kind of learned to say, like, hey, I don't do that, or B, I just don't think that's going to look right, or C, like, if you wanted me and my work, then you're going to get me and my work and not,
Mhm.
all these things you're telling me to do. But it happens a lot.
Do you feel more in a place now to feel comfortable saying that? I mean, when you're trying to build up your name, you might be saying yes to something
Yeah.
you kind of want to.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Because you have to balance it. Because it's like you have to, I hate to say it, but you have to be nice to the right people
Mhm.
sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I
if you
mean?
wanna climb up, yeah. How does the UTEP collaborations come along? Like when you start to design shirts for both UTEP and NMSU?
Oh, yeah.
How do those come about? Do you reach out for them, or do you apply for them or something?
No, I had some strange man from a company that's not anywhere close to here be like, hey, I work with the buying and the producing for XYZ schools. And, we looked up the area because, they're not familiar with, they can see it on a map, but they're not familiar with the school and the community. So he reached out and he's like, I've seen your work and you have a lot of it. Like, we'd love to have you do a piece for UTEP and NMSU, but they had originally wanted the same image for both schools because they were like, "Oh, it's so close, like it'll be the same." And I was
Yeah,
like,
but it ain't the same.
"I was like, no, 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 you can't do that." I was like, "You
Just
can't,
gotta
you can't play
work.
that." Yeah, I was like, "You really can't play that game. Like, it's just not." But then the following year, he reached out again. He's like, "You're really fun to work with, and it was an easy process, so let's do it again." And then it happened a third time. He was just like, "Hey, you want to do another one?" I was like, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah. I want to give you an opportunity to go ahead and maybe help guide some Latinas and anybody else who's trying to start, who's an aspiring artist. But I wanted to see if I could ask you what you think Like if somebody were to ask you, hey, what's one thing that I should be, prepared for, kind of like,
Nose.
yeah, like, I don't want to be surprised by this when it comes along in my art career. Like, what do you think
Yeah.
was one of the biggest surprises for you, like, like furthering into it?
Um, I think it's definitely knowing what you're worth at the time. So let's say if you're just starting, obviously you're not going to get paid the same as someone who's been doing it for 15 years. And I think that's just how things work, right? I don't know. I think that's fair to assess. But I think knowing that and building on that, but then also knowing that you're going to hear a lot of no's and not to take it personal.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, hearing no sucks. Like, no matter what it is, if you get told no, it's like, you take it personal, right? But I think when you learn to not take it personal, it helps a lot. Because then you can just pick back up and be like, cool, well, I can let that one live and I can move on to the next whatever I need to do. Just being prepared with, hey, this is the work that I do, this is the work that I can do, this is how much it is, and if you tell me no, that's cool, I gotta go.
How prepared are you when you present your work? Like, if you ever have to pitch anything, do you have like a PDF, like a ready PDF, or how do you send it?
Well, it's always been a different way that I've had to do it. I've had a couple where I've had to make the rendering first, and then I have to show the process of the rendering. So I have to talk about that to people who maybe don't make art and maybe own the space or own the building or are giving lots of money to do so. It's always different. I've had some helpful people tell me what I need beforehand, but sometimes you just kind of go in it blind and they're like, cool, are you ready with your presentation? It's like, oh, you were going to ask me questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always different.
Yeah. How have you gone about valuing your work? Because it's a combination of, knowing your value, but also kind of knowing what the industry is, how the industry prices stuff.
Yeah.
That way you don't price yourself out of a market or
Right.
price it like, or also cheat yourself out of.
Sure.
So what was your like tangible, like what steps did you take to like figure out?
I think I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because there's so many factors in all of that. Because it's like, okay, if you work with, a food brand out of Austin, they might have a better budget than a restaurant here in El Paso or vice versa. So I think asking them, be like, realistically, how much money do you have to spend? And some people don't have that answer. And I'll be like, okay, well, for my time, it's this. If I'm spending, 30 hours painting or the wall is XYZ size, like, and materials are this much, this is how much I would need. And some people don't even blink an eye and they're like, cool. And some people are like, oh, okay, well, I wasn't prepared for that kind of number because I've never done anything like this. So
you just kind of have to hold their hand a little bit through them.
Sometimes, yeah.
Do you try to just go based off of experience, or do you have any sort of sources that you try to? There's one source that I go to that's just been like it's almost a podcast at this point, but they just try to teach you how to be a creative professional. They're called the Future. You can find most of their stuff on YouTube, but I don't know if you've maybe had any like painters that have jumped on podcasts or regularly have their own podcasts or anything, or like is there anywhere that you kind of just go to maybe get like interviews where they're talking about the same industry you're in?
No, because I think it always comes back to the same factors. Like, where are you trying to make this work and who is it for? And because sometimes I'll base it like, okay, well, the city will give you this amount per square foot. And if the entities can kind of run like the city, then okay, then I could probably charge them the same amount. But it's always so many different things. And I've been listening to this one book and they kind of do the same thing. Like, it's based on all these factors, and it's based on your time, and it's based, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you feel like you've had to kind of learn how to do a little bit of marketing, a little bit? Because that's also like pricing your work is part of that. You know what I mean? Like knowing how to do all that. I know you're still learning, but
You're learning.
Was the conversation about money like hard for you, or is it still hard for you whenever you're talking about money with these dudes? I guess I'm asking personally because it's been a hard conversation for me to have at times still.
Money's always hard, right?
Not for everyone. For some people, it's like before
some
we
people,
even
yeah.
get into it,
But I mean, like in the beginning, it had to be a little bit hard for them, right?
Yeah.
No, I'll still look at like a quote that I'm sending off to someone, and I'll be like, they're gonna look at this and think that I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then I break it down a bunch, and I'm like, okay, but materials, contingency, rental, a lift. I want to eat in there, like
Find yourself over explaining now.
right. And I'm just like, nothing in there doesn't not make sense.
Yeah.
But it's still hard to send it and be like, look at this number.
Yeah. One of the things I've learned, and you might not be able to do that a lot. Like you had to probably itemize your invoice a lot.
Sometimes.
One of the things I've learned that maybe it might resonate with you is the more you itemize it, the more you give them a chance to like pick it apart.
Oh yeah.
Like, take stuff
Yeah,
out. Like,
yeah.
oh, okay, hey, how about you don't eat?
I'd be like, no.
Oh man, that's cool. I guess it's comforting and it's like motivating to know that somebody who's a lot further along is still figuring things out, and it kind of reminds you it's a never-ending process.
Yeah.
You said to not take things personal. How did that come easy for you? Have you ever been
I
somebody?
cry every night with all the letters of no's. Honestly, I think I'm really good at, I'm generally not an overthinker. So if I see a no, I'm like, okay, cool. What was I doing? So it was easy for me to do that, but I know a lot of people that are hard overthinkers that I know that would probably go over and over, like, what could I have done different? Or was it the number? Or was it my work? Or was it, you probably might not ever know. So
Yeah, the only thing that you can do is just try it again and get another opportunity to do it. That's the
Yeah.
only way that you can like really figure out what can you do differently.
right.
Because like the first go around, the way I see it is, it doesn't go well, and there's all things you could have done differently.
Sure.
So it's like, well, where do you even begin with the next one?
It's like I could have just been a dude, you know what I mean? Like there could But like honestly, I think what I love doing is repurposing my no projects into new other proposals.
yeah, you
That's
use it
been
as
super helpful.
use it as fuel in a way.
Well, no, I mean just like literally taking the imagery and being like, okay, cool, this fits.
Um, with right now we were talking about the car and how I sit in the heat all the time with no AC. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask, it could be pretty demanding physically to be out there for hours doing a mural. What sort of ways do you find yourself like able to stay? Like, I know you used to go to. I don't know if you still do. You go to Torch or anything like that?
I hit up the gym. Right now I'm only at 1 day a week, but that's just to like still be able to barely touch my toes. So walk upstairs and not breathe as heavy.
Do you feel like sitting out there, like painting murals for hours is are you constantly reminded that you need to kind of like take care of yourself all the time, or else you probably like would get heat exhaustion or something like that all like every day?
Yeah, but I mean it just reminds me that like I have a body, you know what I mean? But having to climb a ladder or get in and out of a lift or take all my paint down or put it in the car, like going to the gym helps definitely. Yeah, painting out in the world is
Are you like one to count how much like or like keep track of how much water you're intaking throughout a day and stuff?
yeah, because I probably won't do it because it's hard to remember to stop. Because once you're in it, you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you feel that. Like once you're in like a
Flow state.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're like water. I don't drink water. I don't need
I'm
water.
good.
And then you go
did
home and you're
3
like,
days without water.
you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
why does my head hurt so bad? When it's hot, I do try to remember that. I gotta pack snacks.
I have a like daily little reminders that just ping on my phone.
I like
all the
drink water,
time.
bitch.
Yeah, Hydro 1, Hydro 2, Hydro 3. I gotta do 3 a day. How do you? Because we were talking about that a little bit structure earlier, and I don't know if you said you had one, but I know that you try to follow some structure within your day. Do you have like morning routines or evening wind downs or anything like that?
I mean, every day it's the same thing. I wake up, I tell my dog he's a beautiful boy. He gets to go pee. We're lucky if he poops at the same time.
That's gonna be Mars.
He's a sweet man. I do coffee. I do a real slow morning, but I make sure I'm heavy on lists.
Okay.
And writing down like the date I got a call and the day I got an email. I was like, return that shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm my own boss, right? So I have to be hard on myself
Mhm.
on getting those things done. But I'm big on calendars and I'm big on writing stuff down. So yeah,
You physically write it, or do you
Yeah.
just have like your notes app?
I do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need
Like
to
you
see.
double it
I
down?
need to see both.
Do you have anything other than just like? Do you have anything to keep track of that stuff on your phone? Like when you're doing it on your, do you have like an app, like I know some people just use their notes, but some people. We had another guest, Gabe, who's a certified user of Notion, which is like a huge productivity tool.
Oh.
Do you just kind of use your notes app?
No, I never use Notes app. Actually,
Nah?
it's all in my calendar.
Oh, you keep it in your calendar. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and then I double my sketchbook as like me writing down like, okay, this person called me or this person reached out at this time. They're expecting a follow up, or I should be doing a follow up on this date. So
Are you an early riser?
no,
So when you're making your coffee, what time is that at? Like noon?
no, that's gross.
Okay, okay.
Ew.
Okay,
Maybe
okay,
I
for
am. I don't
sure.
know. No, I wake up at like lately it's been really late, so like 8:30.
It's not late. I used to
Yeah,
have a
it is.
class at 10:30, and I used to tell people next to me, like at the lobby, I'd be like, "Man, I got this early class.
And they'd be
I
like,
gotta
oh,
be early. What time
7:30.
is it at? 10:30." And they look at me like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm disgusting," and I'm like, "Yo, my bad, man." Like,
I mean, would I love to wake up like at 7 every day? Yeah, probably. But I also really enjoy 8+ hours of sleep because I'm
yeah.
good at it.
Mhm.
So I'm like, let me just do
Do you
it.
find yourself like staying up late a lot?
No, I don't. I get grouchy like around 9:30, 10.
Okay.
I'm just like, ugh.
You end up knocking out like that. I would, but I'm the type that like sleeps in 2 shifts. So like I'll
Oh.
sleep from like noon to like 4:30.
Oh.
I'm sorry, midnight to
I
4:30.
was like, oh.
Midnight to 4:30.
Whoa.
Midnight to 4:30. I'll wake up and then I'll go to the gym, and then when I get back, I just feel like I need to finish my sleep. So I'll go from like 7:38 till about like 11.
Oh, that's weird.
It's like Da Vinci.
I'm
You
just
know,
like
Da Vinci used to sleep.
8 hours.
He used to sleep how much?
I said I'm like this for like
Oh, I
8
thought you-
hours.
Da Vinci used to sleep in 4 shifts throughout the day, 30 minutes at a time. So like he was only sleeping 2 hours a
He
day.
sounds no fun.
So I mean, yeah, but at the cost of like, or at the expense of some of them, I guess some of the craziest sketches. I
For
don't
sure.
know.
I mean, would I like to get more work done and be like, oh, my body doesn't need that?
I don't think you need 2 hours of sleep in order to be productive. You can do it with 8 hours of sleep. You're fine. You're
I'm
good.
doing great. I feel good. Bags, I don't know where.
How do you think that you found a groove to where you have to? I might have gotten too close. Do you feel like you found a groove to where you like don't have to worry about doing 8 hour days no more? Like when's the last time you did an 8 hour day? Does that make sense? Like when's the last time you really felt like you had to spend a full day like creating?
All the time.
It's 'cause
Every day?
it's 'cause I feel like some people have found a way to be able to like, hey, look, these 5 hours of my day are reserved for it. I don't put 8 out. Like I'm not.
Sure.
You know.
I don't know. I don't keep track of my day like that. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, for me, if let's say I'm painting a wall and I'm like, okay, well, this wall is an east facing wall, so I can only start painting by noon because I got a little bit of shade. So that's when I have to start painting. So I only have about a good solid 5 hours before I start losing a lot of that natural light. So it's like, that's my max outside. But I'm like, okay, if I have enough energy when I get back, am I working on a commission where I can use my iPad or sit down in the sketchbook? Like, do I want to sit down and cut some paper? Like, I don't know. I just kind of handle it like that.
Yeah.
Some days it'll be full days of just like nonstop. And some days it'll just be like, fuck it, we're watching TV today.
True. When you watch TV, are you the type of like to binge watch a show, or do you kind of just
Oh, I'll get
like,
sucked in. That's why I
For real?
can't I can't start like a new show because I know I'll be like, fuck that commission. We're gonna sit down and
right
watch.
on episode 1? It usually takes me like 4 episodes, and even then, like if by
I'll jump
episode
in.
5 it's trash, I'm like, you know what, man, I gave you 5 episodes to
I'll
do.
jump in.
You can jump in.
Yeah, I can come in.
Man, is there anything that you're binging right now?
What was the last thing that I finished? I was late to the train, but I just finished Reservation Dogs. That one was good.
A show?
Yeah, on Hulu,
I'm thinking of Reservoir.
as you should. But
I only got Hulu for The Bear, and then I canceled that thing.
Mm.
It's the only thing that
I'm stealing Hulu right now, so taking full advantage.
So I am with Max, the best one. Max is crazy. So when you say that you listen to you listen to books now, that's a weird sentence to say.
Yeah, no, I always want to be like, I read this book while I was painting, but I was like,
I heard this book. What do you like to get into? Do you like novels or something, or do you like productivity books? Or do you like productivity books or something like that?
I'm only laughing because the last book that I finished was the Britney Spears memoir. And like the last mural I did, I could listen to it like all the way through, and I was like, I was on the lift, and I was like, what the fuck? And I'd be like, that piece of shit. Like people probably heard me like talking a bunch of shit to Justin Timberlake up in the sky.
Yeah, it's about a lot of it's about him and mainly her dad, right? Like about
It's honestly all about her and her conservatorship. So that shit was wild.
yeah,
I felt so bad for her.
man. But do you think you kind of related in a way at all? Maybe not to the extremes, but there was like certain things where you're like, damn, like this wouldn't have happened to like a male artist in any way or shape or form. Like, did you feel like you're like, damn, this is speaking to my soul right now?
Not really. I just grew up. That's how old I am. So I was like Britney Spears.
I grew up with Britney Spears too, but mainly I was more on like the NSYNC side of things. I loved NSYNC.
So did I, but now I can't be Team Justin anymore. I'm like, dude, you're trash. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Don't say you like him right now because he's trash.
I don't know too much about what he's been up to lately, and I know he's been
That's
on
good.
I know he's been on the downtrend. That's about it
Trash.
though. Trash. Just straight into
But
the
yeah,
trash.
I don't know. I love listening to people talk while I'm painting because I feel like I'm hanging out with people.
Yeah,
I don't know if that sounds like a little crazy, but like podcasts too,
kind of.
right? I feel like I'm listening to someone else's conversation, but I feel like there's more people around me when I'm painting, when I'm listening to like a book or a podcast or something. So I enjoy doing that.
Some people like to listen to like those ones where they create, how do you say, like spooky podcasts where they're talking about like horror stuff.
Oh
a little
yeah,
bit?
I like to listen to murder podcasts.
There you go, murder podcast.
But if I'm by
like
myself,
spooky.
I was listening to one of them while I was painting at La Semilla, so out in the farm,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be like at a time when no one was out there,
Oh man.
and I'd be like, and it was very scary, so I had to like change it up.
Britney Spears.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
it's
just
scarier,
had to
man.
take off my headphones completely because I was like, if someone's gonna come, like I have to hear them. But I love a good murder podcast if I know I'm not completely alone.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with like scaring myself with things. I know that we've scared the shit out of you. Maybe not like the shit out of you, but we've
Rude.
scared you in here before. Because I know I was able to take off. So like, I was
Oh,
leaving, but I
yeah.
left right before I left. I made sure I was like, "Yo, dude, what did I say? Imagine that?" Or I
You're
think
like,
I
There's
saw-
someone in your restroom.
yeah,
Peace. And I was like, what the fuck?
Gotta go.
yeah, I love scaring myself, but it's just for like the thrill of it. Because afterwards, oh man, I still sleep with like a little light on.
I remember
I leave the TV on for sure.
I scared you once painting the picture that you're in your car and you look at the rearview mirror and you see someone in the backseat.
Oh yeah, that stuff's scary, man. I don't like it. We were at Jesus's one time, and we were just imagining there was a doghouse, and I was just imagining. I was like, "Yo, man, like we're all over there for the holidays, and there's a group of us, and we're looking at it, and we're thinking, I'm kind of like going back and forth to the window. What happens if I look back at it and there's a like a crouch thing right on top of the doghouse, and I'm just like, nah. So I get what you mean by it, but I can't imagine like that's like forcing us to be scared. Like I'd imagine being out on the farm. I used to work as a screen printer,
Uh-huh.
and it was like in an in-home shop. So like I would go to someone's garage, but they lived out in Vinton.
Okay.
And on the way back, it wasn't just like, okay, you get off the freeway
Right.
and then their house is like right there. You still have to go through
Yeah,
like some farm roads. And on the way back, it was always dark out. So I was just always like, dude, some hillbillies are gonna come and like stop me, or there's gonna be like a herd of sheep, like lamb, and it's gonna be the scariest thing in the world.
100%.
Like, you know how like lamb are like like satanic ass animals, you know what I mean? Or like goats.
Goats.
There you go, goats. Yeah,
The
goats.
goats are gonna get you, dude.
Have you seen this movie? It just came out on Netflix. Leave the World Behind. Have you heard of it?
No.
You heard of it?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Oh man, I recommend it.
Yeah?
It's pretty cool. But it's got deer in it, so
What the fuck?
deer kind of spooky a little bit. But it's pretty much just about how like what can go wrong if like our internet shuts down.
See, I don't want to watch that.
Not necessarily. Why not?
I don't know.
It's
I'm
like,
living this like little happy time of my internet on my phone.
with your doom scrolling.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna
And you're
see-
gonna tell me.
It's
what
so
happened?
funny. Oh, I don't want to. Nah, that'd be a spoiler.
No spoilers.
Yeah, that'd be a spoiler.
I
Never
don't like
mind.
spoilers.
Oh man, you should tell that to our friend Stevan. He loves. He's
Yeah,
he's
dude,
completely
shut
okay
up.
with Stevan. It's like he's completely okay with spoilers. I don't know.
It's completely.
Like my sister doesn't care about spoilers, so I'll be like, dude, I saw this movie and let me tell you about it. She's like, great. But I'm like, don't tell me about it.
What's the last movie you went to go see in theaters? Do you like to go to the theaters to watch movies?
Yeah, the last one I saw was what's that new Nicolas Cage movie? The Dream Scenario.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dream Scenario?
Dream Scenario. Yeah,
I don't
that one
know.
was good. And then this Sunday I'm gonna go watch Poor Things, so I'm really pumped about that one.
Wow, 2 movies I haven't heard of.
That one is
Wow.
crazy.
Did you do Barbenheimer? Did you do that?
Just Barbie.
You didn't watch Oppenheimer?
No.
Damn.
I'm
You
a
didn't got
girl.
the patience for
I'm a
that?
girl.
Yeah. And we saw both.
No, I was like, I thought it was gonna be great visually, but I was like, well,
How do you know you haven't seen it?
Hmm.
You have inside sources.
no, I was just not into it.
I feel you.
But go see Dream Scenario.
With Nicolas Cage.
It's good. Have you seen it? Yeah, it's good.
What's the movie that he was in that's like kind of about him?
The unbearable weight of something.
You heard of that one?
Something like that.
It's got Pablo or Pedro Pascal in it.
Pablo.
Pablo. That's his name, right?
Pedro Pascal.
Would you say this is gonna be just like my knowledge from watching your stories on? Would you say Oscar Isaac's your biggest celebrity crush?
Have you seen that man? He's so cute. He's such a cute little man.
He's short.
Oh yeah, he's like 5'9".
What was he?
Fuck. That's short.
Moon Knight. That's what he is.
Just
Yeah.
Moon Knight character.
just a cute little man. I really loved Ex Machina. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
Never seen it.
what are you watching movies?
Yeah, there's some like it took me
Yeah.
forever to watch Reservoir Dogs. It took me forever to watch that one. I know that we just talked about.
It took me forever to watch The Matrix. Like, I ended up
Haven't
seeing it in the theaters.
Seen Lord
Like,
of the Rings.
no,
All right, there we go. Common ground.
but like it's Lord of the Rings. It's not a common ground. I named a bunch, and you named Lord of the Rings.
No, I'm saying movies that we both haven't seen.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Nah,
Oh, okay, good.
because
Oh.
you saw The Matrix now. I still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but I've only seen the first one.
That's all you need to see.
Right, that's what I was told. So I was like, cool. Yeah.
What, Game of Thrones. You watched that?
Mm-mm.
Good.
'Kay.
We're finding our common ground. I'm just making sure.
No,
that we're
didn't
good.
jump on that train.
Yeah, me neither. That's the example of giving it 4 episodes and being like, I'm out. They told me just get to episode 4 and I couldn't do it.
I just feel like I'd get sucked in, and I don't have. Ain't nobody got time for that.
How's Mars?
Little baby Mars, he's good.
How old is Mars at this point?
So we don't actually know, but in January he should be around 4.
I remember. I think
Yeah,
he had told me that.
found
but
him on the
no way.
streets.
What type of dog is he?
He is a flat coat retriever,
Ooh,
so he's basically like a black golden retriever.
that's cool.
He's pretty cute.
Is he big?
He's like that big.
Like 50, 40 pounds?
He's about 51 pounds.
Okay.
Can you say it in kilograms?
No.
He
Weird.
do you have like a secret stash of like illustrations of Mars at this point? Like how often is Mars inspiration for you?
I just look over and he's there, so
That's enough.
that boy follows me everywhere. Like
Yeah.
when he gets up from his nap, he'll come and just like stare at me and wag his tail real hard and be like, "It's time for you to pet me now."
Hey, so you officially out of the art space lofts at this point?
Yeah.
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 Well, that was like a couple months ago, right? Month and a half, maybe.
No, it was like a couple months ago.
What was it like at first when Mars was a little bit younger and all that? Was he a pain in the ass in the apartment? Did you have to like keep cleaning up and stuff like that after that? Like, was it a struggle to potty train him?
Honestly, well, I found him, I found him out in Socorro, and he was already at least 1, maybe 2. And he already knew how to sit, so I knew someone had trained him to at least do that.
Yeah.
Which was extra sad. I mean, one time he did take a dump on one of my pieces that was on the floor.
Wow.
And I was like, bro, tell me how you really feel.
Wow.
My heart hurt. But other than that, I
The
mean,
last time you put a piece on the floor?
no, I'll still do it. And I'll be like, yo, you walk around that. And he'll walk in the little space in between.
Nice.
I don't know. He's oddly really amazing. And I know he knows English. He probably has had like 2 accidents.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3. Like one was in the middle of the night. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Can't be mad at him.
I couldn't. I was like, your tummy hurts?
Is Mars your first dog? I
As
imagine-
as an adult human, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had a dog growing up as a kid, but like on my own, like I clean up the dumps, yeah, me.
Would you consider yourself a dog person, or do you feel like, man, you'd rather have a cat sometimes?
Ew.
Nah, just say it. Didn't know. Some people are.
I'm allergic to cats. If a cat comes up to me, I'm gonna pet it. If an animal is nice to me, I'm gonna touch it.
Yeah.
I always say that's probably how I'm gonna go. Be like, I gotta touch this animal.
This tiger seems.
This
really
tiger
friendly.
came up to me and I had to touch it.
What kind of allergic? Like, if you or by a cat, you start sneezing a lot or something? Or you get
I
like
break out in
itchy?
hives.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Man, so you'll risk it if the cat's nice.
I've done it.
It's worth it.
If it's sweet, I'm like, I'm gonna be sweet back. I
It's
can't
worth it every
not. I
time.
can't not do it. But no, I like animals. So I have 2 snakes and then Mars.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You got some snakes. Nah, I
Mhm.
can't do that. You got spiders?
No, but I wish.
Oh, nah, can't do that.
Have you seen the little baby like jumping spiders?
I've
They're
seen
like-
eight-legged freaks. I've seen eight-legged freaks.
Like one time I was at a house party and I only knew the person that I went with, and they knew everybody, so I was just like this awkward person there. But the person that the house belonged to had a tarantula,
Mhm.
so I was like, "Yo, can I pet your tarantula?" So he took it out, and I was just like walking around with this tarantula.
Man, I can't.
That's
do that.
me.
You scared of moths?
No. Are you?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, if a moth comes into like the crib, it's
You're
your
like-
house now. I don't I don't need to be here.
One time I was teaching kids out in Fabens, and there was a moth in the classroom, but that fucker was like this big, and I had to be like really strong and brave, but I've never seen one that big.
It's a behemoth.
So I tried to like scoop it on a piece of paper, and then it flew at me and then landed on my pants. And I was like, you know what, guys, we're just gonna walk this outside. And I was like,
Nah,
it's massive.
can't do that.
It's pretty cool though.
There was a huge one here, remember?
Oh yeah.
You and Jesus. I ran to the restroom and I just let them take care of it. I was just waiting for them.
Yeah, it looked like a tiny bird.
Yeah, those things are
Big.
crazy. Oh
Have
man.
you seen hummingbird moths? You wouldn't like those at all.
Oh yeah, those are
Hummingbird
cool.
moths?
Yeah, they are. They're
Yeah.
freaky looking, but like you would probably cry a little.
Yeah, I'd cry with a regular one.
Where did that come from?
Moths? I think it was just the idea that like when I was
A
a
bug?
kid, yeah, they just don't move, and I just feel like they're stalking me. I just feel like they're watching. And I heard that they eat your clothes,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it was. I was just like, nah,
You're like,
I
they're
don't
gonna
like that.
eat me.
I don't like that.
I hate that they're gray, but
But I had a big thing about like just not liking insects in general. Like
Sure.
I'm not afraid of an ant or a fly or anything.
what about
like that.
lizards?
I'd probably be a little worried about it, but I can imagine they're a little harmless, kind of. But I just feel like if it's smaller than me, it's got too much of an advantage. Like it's easy for me to lose it.
About frogs.
Nah, but that's also because I feel like I don't know my frogs.
Sure.
So like I don't know if I'm gonna touch it, if I'm gonna get like a wart, or if I'm gonna get like
That's not a
poisoned or
real
anything.
thing. If I see a frog, I touch it, and I'm just like, that's
Well,
how
some
I
of
go.
them might be poisonous, though, right? Oh yeah, well that's the thing. Like
I'ma touch it.
we don't fall on. That's not common ground.
I lived I lived in Florida for a little bit, and obviously when it rained, there'd be just frogs everywhere. I'd be like, ooh,
Where in Florida, like the swamps?
yeah.
Everglades?
Yes.
I'll just say like what
I
kind
had
of
one
stuff.
of those boats that had the.
How old are you when you were in Florida?
So I worked at Disney World for a little bit.
Oh shit!
So I lived in Lake Buena Vista, so it was just right by the parks.
Damn.
Did you ever see manatees?
No.
Oh.
Like just have I ever seen one?
Yeah, like out in Florida.
Oh, no, I didn't live anywhere where there was water around.
Oh.
Like, yeah, I didn't really live in the swamps.
The Everglades.
Yeah, I didn't really.
I was gonna ask you if you seen like gators and stuff like that.
No, it was like where you live is right by the park, so it's not exciting.
You seen Florida Man? The whole like headline like Florida Man does this, Florida
No.
Man does that.
Dude, you're so isolated on like where you live and stay and work, and
Were you like are they called Imagineers?
no.
You know what
That's
those are though?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Those are like the real fancy people. We were just like the little.
What were
Grunts.
you? Grunt?
No, but like you had to say stuff like it wasn't your uniform, it was your costume.
Okay.
And if you were like out on the floor, you wouldn't say that. You'd say on stage or backstage. You wouldn't ask someone for their signature. You'd ask them for their autograph, like shit like that. You'd have to smile at everybody that you saw.
What were you doing aside from all that stuff that you had to follow? Like, what was your role?
Honestly, it was my first job ever working there.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
So they did it through UTEP. So it was just like a,
So within your 1 year at UTEP, you got to go to Disney World?
yeah.
Man, you finessed UTEP for real.
Yeah.
I would dip after this.
I
Was it like a
understand.
summer thing?
I did it for 6 months. So they did
Oh.
it, they had like the short one, I think was 6 months, and then
You still have to like do your classes and stuff the same.
right, but they did it in a way to where you could like hold your financial aid and you wouldn't lose out on like not being enrolled that semester. So I thought it was cool.
Dang. So aside from love letters, what do you think's in your near future for the new year? Do you think you got a lot? Do you have like murals lined up or anything like that? I'm sure stuff gets planned out, and then how often does a plan take forever to kick in?
I mean, a lot of stuff isn't as planned as it feels, I guess. Like the Children's Museum, I just finished that mural maybe like a month ago, and that took like 2 years to like happen, I think. Took a really long time.
The the planning of it, or like the mural itself, like you kind of like had to.
No, just like waiting for the building and the wall to be ready and like just, how construction goes and um finally getting to do it. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what sort of things do you feel like you've learned as a byproduct of doing murals? Like when it comes to building structures, like have you had to kind of learn about certain measurements you didn't even ever consider when you're doing other stuff?
I always look at wall texture now.
Okay.
Like when I see a wall, I'm like, well, what's the texture?
What are some of the most pain in the ass
The
ones?
super textured ones. Like if the wall's stucco, like the last one that I did, right? It's a stuccoed wall. But a lot of exterior walls are like that because it helps mask like a lot of the building imperfections.
Okay.
So you're not gonna have a lot of buildings that have smooth textures on the outside. That's just what I've observed. But you have to catch that in the right light or in no light at all. So you have to wait for a shadow to be cast on the wall, or you have to make sure that it's, what direction is it facing, or all kinds of shit like that. But
What about sun direction? You learned about sun direction because of murals?
yeah.
Dang.
And I'll go to the wall and I'll be like, okay, well, this is fucking south facing, so we're screwed. You know what I mean? Or, oh, this is north facing, so we're extra screwed. Or
How do you do that? You got an app or something like that that tells you what direction you're facing?
no, I'm pretty good at just.
Hey, you don't
Where the sun is?
Hey, if there's buildings up, like sometimes you can't really like.
I'm pretty good at just being like,
You just.
I know where I'm at. Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's where it's going.
Jesus tells me.
Okay.
I let Jesus take the wheel.
Man, that's crazy.
But yeah, like things like that you wouldn't think of. Like if you wanted to paint early, do I want an east facing wall? Is the wall stucco? Like, you know what I mean? Like just shit like that.
Yeah.
That you think like, oh, you're gonna paint a wall, so you just go and paint it, but you don't. Well, a lot of people do, but.
You have any murals in the works that you can either may or may not speak about?
Honestly, I'm trying to focus really hard on this love letter project.
Yeah.
Because I think that one's fun because then I'll actually have to seek out these walls. And a lot of times, a lot of my murals have been like, hey, I have this wall. It's not me being like, hey, you have a great wall and my name is, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to completely flip the way I've approached working with murals and other people. So
aside from this one, have you had any opportunities to pick out a wall?
the I-10 one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Super stucco, super textured.
How did the mural? I just want to kind of finish off with murals, but how did you is it as simple as just kind of like going step by step? But the one I forgot what you titled it, but it's like a series across panels of walls, and you did 3 of them.
Yeah.
I forgot what you had titled it though.
Forward always.
There you go. Was there any special way to get that done? Because it's not like a flip book where you're flipping it, like you walk by it. But did you still have to do some sort of like pre-planning to get that, to see how it was gonna work?
Yeah, so that one, I got offered those 3 walls and they're just like oddly sectioned like that. Like, and I was like, fuck it, let's do an animation. No one's gonna really get it unless.
I got it.
I love doing animations because they fuck with your mind like in the process of it. Because I'm like, okay, how do I make this next part move? So that one I wanted to get extra ridiculous and make all the animals turn into each other. That one took a lot of planning and a lot of drawing. But yeah, if you're just walking by it, you're just seeing a bunch of animals. Like you're not getting it right away, which I think is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's one of those that you maybe have to look. Well, nah. If you look back, if you step back, I feel like that's even more so. It's just a bunch of animals. It's
And
when
then-
you like only see one at a time and you see it change.
Right. And then even the colors switch. So it's like it's a whole fade, but then the fade goes backwards the other way too.
Man, that's just badass. That's one of my favorite ones. And then I know the one at the pack, and then I know the Cafe Piro one. That one's cool because
Yes.
it's almost the whole building. I haven't
is.
walked around the whole building.
Yeah.
'Cause I've only seen the front side.
Yeah.
but your murals are amazing. I'm excited to see how you're able to churn a mural based on, I guess, someone's letter.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
excited about that.
I am too. Now knowing about it, what would you want to go ahead and tell these female artists, these creatives, to inspire them to, if they're a little shy and don't maybe want to like put it out there, like what would you do to kind of encourage them to take that leap?
Well, see, that's why I still want to have like the website and the social media, but I also want it to be a space where you don't, if you're not comfortable sharing your name or you know what I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Um, but I think people making art, like, you need an audience, right, to keep it going. Like, if I was just making art for myself, like, I don't know, I feel like you need people to see the work. And you need other people to interpret it, and you need other people to enjoy it, and of course you want other people to buy it, but you want people to also come and listen to you do the work. And yeah, I just want them to have a like another platform to be able to share.
True.
I don't know, it matters. Some people are too afraid to do that on their own, so
Were you ever afraid like that?
yeah, I think I still am.
Yeah.
Like when I'm making pieces, when I'm painting murals, it's like, ooh, I made that eye a little wonky and now everyone has to see it. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's out for the world.
Mhm.
But I think I'm making such a visual thing, it's like what I have to share it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Man, Kristen, I don't know if you want to let people know where they can find you, where they can find love letters. I don't know if you already have like the username already set up for it or anything.
I do have the username. There's nothing up yet. I'm still kind of trying to build that brand around that and get some sort of visual identity that feels good and right.
Are you waiting to announce it until then?
Well, I want to have, you know, a logo or something that's going to be with it for a long time to be like, okay, yeah, this is what that's all about. But I'm pretty sure it's Love Letters EP, loveletters.ep. Don't ask me. I don't remember what I picked. Whatever was available.
When you do make the formal announcement, where can people find that announcement at?
I'll be sharing it like on all my socials. So you can find me at Instagram at christin.m.a. Don't spell it wrong.
I wasn't supposed to announce her like that either.
You really weren't.
I wouldn't have. I was already leaning
Don't
towards
do
it.
it.
All right, everybody. Our guest for today is. I'm just kidding. No, Kristen, thank you so much
You bet.
for letting us know a little bit more about the ins and outs of your work and how your career shaped out. I know that your time is precious, so we really do appreciate you.
Yeah, Mars misses me.
Oh man, I would have asked David if you could bring Mars, but
Oh, he would have laid right here. He would have loved it.
man,
I would have been down.
man,
God damn it. There would have been hair everywhere.
this is my fault.
Okay. Yeah, it is your fault. Now I'm
This
mad.
episode ends on me, guys.
My little friend couldn't come.
I'm the downfall of this. Well, Kristen, now that the cameras are gonna be off soon, if you want to have any Topo Chico seltzers, we got them. Hey, you know what it is, man. We got Kristen over here. We got David behind the cameras, making sure we rolling. And I'm Evan, one half of MF Pro. This is another episode of Live at MFHQ.